Howdy, my name's Andrew Jarrett. I'm a program manager with the Cyber Readiness Center here at TEACS, and today I'm going to talk to you about the cybersecurity career path. The internet has now become an essential service, as necessary for our lives as power and water. However, it's also generated new forms of electronic disruption and crime, which affect our governments, our industry, and individuals. You yourselves are using the internet right now to view this presentation. From a means of protecting computers against simple vandalism to defending against organized cyber attacks and cyber espionage and warfare, cybersecurity jobs, now more than ever, are incredibly important. Today we're going to talk about some many ways that you can look into how to pursue a career in cybersecurity and benefit. So the way I got into cybersecurity was sort of a traditional path. I started off in information technology, supporting help desks and computers, fixing printers, and doing all that fun stuff. One day I transitioned into having to do cyber compliance as I climbed the ladder in the IT world. I did this without attending college, so I did mostly on-the-job training and certifications as a way into cybersecurity. It's now become my career where I manage a team that does nothing but cybersecurity services and training all day long. It's been incredibly rewarding and very interesting, but there are lots of ways that you can get into cybersecurity careers. Of all the possible career moves you can make, why is transitioning into cyber such a great choice? There are a couple reasons that this could be the right move for you. The first, obviously, is a higher salary. Research from Cybersecurity Ventures says that spending on cybersecurity products and services is going to exceed $6 trillion in 2021. That's a lot of money. And the cybersecurity unemployment rate is going to be 0% for years. There is a massive gap in cybersecurity talent, and anyone with even basic cybersecurity skills is highly sought after. These predictions mean that cybersecurity job markets will have a high demand for more workers in years of the future. These predictions mean that a cybersecurity career is going to be incredibly valuable now and into the future. Because of this high demand, cybersecurity salaries are still rising. Second, switching to a cybersecurity career opens you to a range of career options. As a cybersecurity professional, you're not just defending against hackers. You have a wide variety of options, including technical roles, sales roles, management roles, director level roles, consulting. You can go on the offensive side or the defensive side. You can hack for a living and hack for good and not get in trouble when you have permission. You can defend against hackers. You can help people make their organizations more safe. You can also get into all sorts of management and consulting director paths where you direct others and set strategy and all kinds of things as you gain more experience. No matter what your current level of technical expertise is or what your career goal is, you can find a cybersecurity job that fits you. To sum up, becoming a cybersecurity professional offers a variety of options in terms of jobs and what kind of things that you can be doing, as well as a great pay scale. So it's an awesome opportunity to check out right now. No matter what your current background or level of experience is, you can find a role in cybersecurity. Lots of specialized paths exist for cybersecurity professionals. I myself was able to forge my own path where I was able to marry my love of cybersecurity and IT with emergency management through a career at TEACS. However, there's all kinds of things out there. You can forge your own path, or there are paths that you could follow. Traditional paths like becoming a cybersecurity analyst, becoming a cybersecurity consultant, becoming a cybersecurity architect, or non-traditional paths like getting into specialized cybersecurity tools and learning about threat tactics and how the bad guys exploit the good guys to do bad things, how to stop them. A recent salary survey showed that cybersecurity professionals were expected to increase 7% in a year. This is compared to 2% growth in all IT specialties. So cybersecurity is growing much, much faster. There's a huge gap in skills that needs to be filled, and companies are paying accordingly. If you're an experienced cybersecurity professional, you can get paid even more. A recent survey also found that experienced cyber chief information security officers, or CISOs, can make up to $186,000 a year. That number is probably higher today, but you don't need to be a manager to have many years of experience to get high salaries in cybersecurity. In fact, believe it or not, cybersecurity engineers with good soft skills can make more than CISOs. This is all without necessarily getting a college degree. It's all about the experience. Sales engineers are another track which also help sales teams by giving demos of technical security solutions. Those can also make six figures. Boosting your cybersecurity salary boils down to two strategies. Focus on hot, high-in-demand security skills and gain practical, hands-on experience in the real world. The more, the better. Overall, getting started in a cybersecurity career is not as hard as it may seem. If you plan on staying in Bryan College Station, there are programs at Blinn and Texas A&M that you should check out, as well as free classes that we offer online at TEACS. However, you can get in through a variety of ways. You can start off through a technical track, becoming an IT support person and working your way through that, gaining more experience. You could go straight into cybersecurity with a cybersecurity-based degree, or go through certifications, which are much shorter than degrees. You also have the opportunity to gain on-the-job experience, again, without traditional four-year education, just climbing through the ranks and taking on cybersecurity responsibilities. The industry is moving so quickly that it's very difficult for higher education to keep up. So the number of programs are fairly limited. The number of opportunities for you to learn about cybersecurity in the real world are endless. And then, of course, there's always the military option. Joining the military and becoming a cyber operator through the Air Force or the Navy or the Army, even the Marine Corps, might allow you to gain significant cyber experience in a classified environment. So if you keep your nose clean and you're able to get that security clearance, you can go down that path and then come out into the civilian world as a very highly sought after cyber professional already with minimal amount of experience necessary. So let's talk a little bit more about salaries. Salaries in technology in general are pretty high. Salaries in cybersecurity are even better. This boils down to the fact that there are more open cybersecurity jobs than there are qualified people to take them. In this day and age, the growth is massive, and it's a great opportunity to get in and gain a career that's going to last forever. The internet's not going away, technology's not going away, and there are always going to be people who are necessary to defend it against bad actors. In addition, it's a lot of fun. You get to serve your community in some cases. You get to do good things where you're protecting folks against the bad guys. You're stopping the criminals and the bad actors and the enemy nations against from harming us and protecting things, which is always a rewarding career. If you stay in the public sector, you get to defend your community against cyber attacks. So you get to help people in your hometown even with cyber issues, which is one of the most rewarding things about my job. And if you go into the private sector, you get to defend your company, your business, your coworkers against the bad impacts of cyber attacks. If you go the military route, you get to defend the whole country against cyber attacks. Any way you look at it, it's pretty rewarding. Cyber is very interesting because it doesn't matter whether you have a degree or don't have a degree, and it also doesn't necessarily matter what degree you get. Getting a technical degree in computer science or cybersecurity is great, but there are also other careers within cyber that use communication skills, business management skills, all kinds of other things from other places. There's even cyber historians who are experts in the evolution of cyber over time. So there's a wide variety of places where you can plug in with whatever your passion is into cybersecurity, even if it isn't computers, even if you don't know how to program or code or script or whatever. That doesn't necessarily mean that you can't be in the cyberspace. We need people who can communicate, we need people who can code, we need people who can explain concepts to other people who are not technical. Cyber has a place for just about anyone with an interest, with the aptitude as well. There are a number of career paths that you can go down in cyber. Some involve offensive cybersecurity or testing the cybersecurity of others, called penetration testing or red teaming, while others do blue teaming, which is defensive cybersecurity or defending against the attackers. Oftentimes, cybersecurity professionals find themselves doing a little bit of both in what we call purple teaming, where you do some defense, some offense, some testing, some defending, some monitoring. There's also roles in compliance, where you look at whether an organization is compliant with cybersecurity standards and doing what they should be doing. There's consulting work to help organizations implement the cybersecurity measures that they should be taking. There's all kinds of roles in sales and sales engineering, communication, selling cybersecurity products for others, developing cybersecurity products for others, so if you're into programming and things like that. And finally, communications in general, helping folks understand, training, things like we do here at TEACS, where we boil cybersecurity down for the community and teach other people about it. There are a lot of different places, whether you're good at public speaking, you're good at programming, you enjoy IT and networking, or you enjoy code, or you enjoy having conversations with people. There's a career path for you. Typically, cybersecurity people, as they advance through their career paths, will start off as cyber analysts or something in that range, cyber analysts, cyber technicians who do network monitoring, do certain testing, or do application development. And then as they move up in terms of experience, they'll become cyber administrators, cyber engineers, cyber managers, cyber directors, and eventually that coveted Chief Information Security Officer role. Each time you move up, you typically move up in pay, which is nice, but you also move up in experience and what kind of skill set you get to use. Talking about how to get into cybersecurity career paths, there's the traditional degree path. Both Texas A&M and Blinn College offer cybersecurity majors and minors. Texas A&M has a cybersecurity minor degree. Blinn College has an Associates of Applied Science in Cybersecurity. Both are great programs. There's also the military track. The Air Force and the Navy especially are hiring cyber operators right now, and they'll train you from scratch and allow you to come out not only with cybersecurity experience, but also with a security clearance, which is highly, highly sought after. And then finally, there's on-the-job training. You can learn as you go. You can start in an IT career as an IT technician, IT analyst, and move your way up and transition into cyber as you get more experience. Cyber and technology are combined. They are joined at the hip. So becoming good at one allows you to transfer into the other without major issue. No matter what track you go down, there are a number of TEACS trainings that you can take. TEACS offers a variety of free online courses that you can take in your spare time that are actually worth college credits. Those are a great place to start to determine whether or not you're interested in cybersecurity and start seeing the various aspects of cybersecurity in practice. We also offer a number of certification courses and other classes to help you along your career as you go from beginner to intermediate to advanced in terms of cybersecurity practitioner. So along the way, there's lots you can do between Texas A&M, Blinn College, TEACS, and other resources available to you. Thank you so much for being a part of this presentation today. Next up, you're going to see a demonstration that shows just how attackers can exploit us and the massive damage that they can do to companies and governments by one of my student workers, Killen Lewis.
So in this scenario, Roberto is our attacker, and he's just walked in the office with Joshua, his coworker. As you can see, Roberto gets set up, connecting to the network, and ensuring that he's on the same network as Joshua. In a second here, Roberto will use a USB Bash Bunny, which is essentially a keyboard emulator to connect. Typically in an attack scenario like this, Roberto, as our perpetrator, is going to wait for Josh to leave his computer unattained and unlocked. Once Roberto has all his payloads and execution files loaded onto the Bash Bunny, he can go ahead and unplug it and can now safely plug it into Josh's computer and proceed with the attack. After the attack is completed, Roberto can safely eject the storage device and return back to his computer as if nothing happened. In total, the attack takes roughly less than 10 seconds, but it is extremely deadly because what Roberto has now is a reverse shell and can execute any commands from over the network without Josh knowing. Josh can resume work and know little to nothing about what's going on. Essentially, Roberto owns his computer and can run, execute, and even download or any files he wants to Josh's computer. Even after Josh is logged off of his computer, Roberto can install malicious software that will continue to run upon every startup of Josh's computer. To demonstrate how deadly this attack is, Roberto can now run a simple shutdown command showing and proving that he has indeed obtained a reverse shell. As of now, Josh probably expects that he's been hacked, but he still doesn't know who the perpetrator is. So he gives the call to his boss and tells him what's going on. Attacks like these aren't super common in the industry, but they do end up costing companies millions of dollars each year when they do launch a successful attack.
In addition to what we just discussed, I wanted to give you a quick demonstration on some of the techniques that are used by many hackers to exploit the confidentiality, integrity, and availability in many systems. Okay, so I hope everyone already knows that clicking on random links is generally a really bad idea. This is a common threat that usually takes place in the form of an email, and we refer to them as phishing attacks. It's a simple trick where someone violates your trust and attempts to steal your information, or even in extreme cases, gain access to your computer. And while the average cost of a phishing attack for a mid-sized company is roughly $1.6 million, because this is still so effective and many people are falling for these types of attacks, cybersecurity professionals are still developing a myriad of different techniques to actively prevent and remediate these threats. Let's take a look at some demonstrations showing what happens when someone falls for a phishing scam and what they can do to prevent it. So currently I'm using VMware. It's a virtualization and cloud computing software running on the server here in our office. Virtualization is just kind of a fancy way of saying, hey, I'm a computer that runs other computers and their software. So I have two machines running. The one on the left is our attacker computer, and the one on the right is our victim computer. Typically how this works is the perpetrator attempts to elicit fear, curiosity, and/or a sense of urgency out of the target, so that when the target is prompted to open an attachment or fill in sensitive information like a username, password, or credit card number, they are likely to comply. On our attacker machine, we have sent some emails to our victim containing malicious links, PDFs, and documents that look like they're coming from real people. And then on our victim machine, we can see these emails in our inbox. And I'm going to show you what happens when you click on one of these links. So here we can see some of the emails that we received, like John Guy at itsupport@google.com, Shaquille Oatmeal at yahoo.com, Wells Fargo, Bob, Tyrell Wellick, Amazon, and Dr. Evil. I'm going to use this one just because it's easiest. And on our attacker machine, we set up a listener. So let me go ahead and show the jobs. We set up two listeners, one on port 80 and then one on port 443. This is commonly known as HTTP and HTTPS. So when the user connects to this website, we should open up and spawn a interpreter shell that will give us full access to the computer. Here you can see that the link is hyperlinked, so we don't actually know where it's forwarding to. This is a common technique used by scammers to get you to click on something that you really shouldn't be. Anyway, so if we open up this link, we can see that we're forwarded to another address, a non-secure address, and just the text, it works. And if we come back here onto our attacker machine,
Okay, so on our attacker machine, we can see that we have a interpreter shell opened. This is kind of like our cybersecurity worst case scenario because this gives us full control of our user's computer. I'll go ahead and demonstrate why it's such a bad thing. So we started an interpreter shell and now we're going to run it. As you can see, we've created a channel. And basically, through command line, we can interact with the victim computer. Now let's try and see if we can shut it down.
So hopefully you learned something, and that was quite illustrative of how easy it is for attackers to gain access to your computer if you fall for one of their scamming links or phishing emails. A couple steps you can do to ensure that you don't fall for these attacks are to always use a password manager. LastPass is pretty good. That way you don't enter any information over the web that's insecure and that the hackers can use in plain text to enter into another website. Another way is to always check the links before you click on them. So in the demonstration that I showed, you saw how a link that was supposedly okay forwarded us to another address and was not okay. So one way you can check the links for security is to copy the link address and simply paste it. You don't have to paste in your web browser because you might accidentally click on it. But here we can see that this address is clearly not the one that they sent us. There's also other cues that you can detect from phishing emails, like a lot of stuff is usually misspelled, Amazon, or they're very vague to whom this may concern. is another example. Typically, the hackers are using a mass email scam, so they send these to a lot of different people, hoping that one of them will answer and click on their links. I hope you enjoyed the demonstration. As always, please check us out on TEACS, where you can find out more about us.
Thank you so much for participating in our Cybersecurity Career Day presentation today. If you have questions or want to know more information, you can visit cyberready.org or teaks.org/cyber to get in touch with me, my team, or anyone else in the Cyber Readiness Center.